This video is brought to you by Subject to Change Entertainment on Patreon. Consider becoming a member now and receive exclusive access to the video version of our podcast, our feature-length and short films, and get videos like this a week early, and so much more. Link in the description.
Oh yeah, welcome to Subject to Pod. Everybody can be found on YouTube and on our Patreon. We are live streaming right now. I am Adam Lucas.
Vincent Herman.
Dot Flanagan.
And today we are going to be talking about how we define success. It's a very, it's something that I've been thinking about a lot because, you know, I like to consider myself successful. Fuck! For those of you listening to the audio version, my hat just fuck. My hat and my bag fell off my chair.
You're literally falling apart.
I am. This chair's just gonna splinter out from underneath me.
I actually specifically gave you that chair because you're so much taller than we are. This would even us out.
I am. Yeah, my knees are like above my waist.
Yeah. It's a comfy chair, though, right?
It is very comfy.
Pretty comfy chair.
But before we get into that, how's your guys' week been?
Okay, all right, nice. I like that little addition there.
How have you guys been since the last meeting that we have had?
You mean months ago?
Yeah.
Like 2 months ago?
Yeah.
I mean, well, you're pretty aware of everything that's been going on, but I've just been kind of... We tried a bunch of things with STC, and some of which worked and will be like new standards, some of which is just a lot of eating up of time, and then you turn around and all of a sudden none of that information matters anymore, and so now you've got to learn the new information. So I've given up on like playing the game of media, and I've got a pretty good system going with our social media now, and I'm really just looking forward to focusing on productions moving forward. We're about to start casting Tale of Youth. We've got the JIB thing coming out here maybe a month or so. As of this recording, like next week, Tammy Hawthorne's goes on the Patreon. The week after that goes on the YouTubes for everyone. So yeah, we're going to be doing that stuff. But personally, I'm fucked and everything's screwed up. So, yeah. No, personally, things are going good. If you're watching this live or watching the video version on Patreon, we're actually doing this from my new place. As you can tell, it is still under construction. We're still
the process.
We're in the process.
Trust the process.
The reason we're not doing this in the Subject to Studios upstairs is because it's way too hot and no way.
Just no way.
We gotta get an air conditioner up there, but yeah. So I'd say things have been going pretty good on my end. Yeah, just working a lot too, trying to get caught up.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Dot?
Been doing pretty good.
You've been going through health-wise. So
honestly, my sister and I are trying to start a business. It's a process alone. And then I decided that I was going to quit my job, which I have a week left of that job. And then I'm going to, believe it or not, I'm going to go back and get my master's.
Hell yeah.
And I'm going to become a substitute teacher this coming school year. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a lot of changes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I've been busy.
If you guys ever wonder, like, because I think me and me and Adam have been showing up a lot more lately, where Chelsea's been dealing with a lot of stuff down at the hub, where her tenure there is about to come to an end.
Yeah.
And got double pneumonia. Like, when she was gonna try and come to this recording,
and I was like,
it's been a week. Do you still need to mend? Because if so, you've got an out.
Oh gosh, that poor thing.
Yeah, and then you are just usually insanely busy. So if you guys are like, who's that new person? She's in here, trust me. She's in the group chat.
I really
Yeah, all of us are made of glass.
Honestly, like doing this live and just all of the streaming stuff we've been doing, like that is the brainchild of Dot and me going like, all right, fine, and then ended up having a lot of fun doing it because I didn't want to do it at all. I mean, so
honestly, when I started doing it, the only reason I was asked to do it because Fallout 4 just came out, and I'd made a settlement, which is a thing you could do in the game, and it's brand new in Fallout. And some friends are like, hey, I want to see pictures. So I sent screenshots. They're like, can you do a video tutorial? And I'm like, yeah, I could do that. So I did that on my Xbox. And they're like, do you know how to live stream? I want to see it in person. I'm like, you were asking a lot, but I'll try it. Because I honestly wanted to try it out, but I was not interested in, like, talking to people on camera at all. And I ended up liking it a lot. So, yeah, it gets addicting after a while.
We do need to have another session here soon because we need to write Dot's interview.
Yeah. We do.
Dot's sketch debut. Well, Adam, let's turn it back around on you. How you been? How you doing?
I've been good. I've been... me and Vinny have been out at a bunch of events trying to spread the good word. We saved someone's life at the last art walk.
Oh my God, that's right.
This poor girl, it was so hot.
Oh, you literally saved someone.
Yeah.
I thought you were good.
This poor girl, she passed out in front of our tent.
Yeah.
And the woman next to us and us, like, brought her under the tent.
Yeah.
No.
Like, I had a cooler with an ice pack and a bottle of water. I was like, take this, put this on your wrist, and drink this.
For a brief moment, the STC tent at the Portsmouth Art Walk became the medical tent.
Oh, God.
But she was fine. They took her inside.
Once she was feeling better.
Her down.
Yeah.
No, I've been doing that. I've been
just that.
Yeah.
Just that. You've been walking around looking for people passing out.
Yeah, a couple people were just taking a nap. They got really pissed. I've just been, hanging out, working a lot. I'm actually going to... I don't think I've told either of the people, or either of you guys. I'm actually going to be going back to school this fall to finish up my degree.
Right on, yeah. Nice. I remember when that was a big debate for you and everything.
Yeah.
When you were deciding to walk away from it, so that's
what's
cool.
your degree going to be?
It'll be my Bachelor's of Science in Business Marketing with a minor in media digital marketing with an associate's in information systems management.
Nice. So we're going to have one person who's all that. You're going to have your master. I didn't want to repeat all. You're going to have your master's. And I dropped out after 3 months with a photography major.
Hey.
Photography could be a bitch, to be honest.
Almost 20 years ago.
Look, it sucks. I hate it.
There was nothing I wanted to do really there, and they didn't have anything with film, and I was like, oh, photography is the closest thing, and I'm not an academic person. Like, I don't necessarily feel like I'm a stupid person, but academia never really clicked with me. I don't like the standardized testing systems, which I know is a bit different in college, but it's still there.
One of the funniest things is I'm a business major, and the funniest fucking thing, business majors are completely made up. Mm-hmm. Like, you could go past a business class.
There's a reason why it's called a BS.
Yeah. You could walk past a business class in college and they'll say profit equals money in minus money out. And people will be taking notes and being like, I never thought of that before.
At some point, they just show that clip from South Park.
Yeah.
To be honest, I had a roommate in college. She looked at me. She's like, art is such an easy degree. And I'm like, what's your degree? And she's like, business. I'm like, I'll take your class tomorrow. I'll probably pass it for you. And she's like, you're a bitch.
Here's what's wrong with
it's not that hard to do a business class.
Doing an art degree, you have to have some level of skill in art. So, like, I would flunk.
Yeah, I told her, I said, if you want to learn how to use Photoshop, go for it. It's on my computer. She's like, what's that? I'm like, exactly why you would not pass my class.
To Photoshop, I have, like, rudimentary knowledge. Like, you ask me to do anything really intricate with it, though,
See,
I'm gone.
That's one of the weird things, too, and that was one of my reservations about going back and starting up, because I'm going to be going full-time, I'm still going to be working part-time, I'm still going to be living with my mom, and I should be finished with it in about a year.
Okay. Oh, nice.
But one of the reservations that I had is I was talking to Kelly Rife.
Okay.
I'm...
Who we know through the Portsmouth Little Theater.
Which, speaking of which, I am assistant directing the next show at the Portsmouth Little Theater, Wait Until Dark, based on the old Audrey Hepburn movie.
And I will be acting in that.
Vincent will be acting in that.
I might be going to see it.
I am so
excited. Might see it.
I can't wait for Vinny to be in the middle of
Dot Flanagan, supporter of the arts.
I can't wait for Dot to be there, and Vinny will be on stage during like opening night, and for out of nowhere she'll just hear cut.
Stop! Like in the middle of the scene, you go, one more for safety.
Hey, wait! Can we take that back, please? No, but one of the things I'm going to be building the set for that. I'm going to be stage managing it.
Oh, you're building a set too?
Yeah,
nice.
Which kind of this is going to somewhat rein us back into our topic today.
I actually had a segue, but okay, good.
One of the things that I had told Kelly, because she was like, hey, you might need help building the set this time. Our usual set designer isn't going to be involved as much. And I work at a print shop, and I told her, Kelly, I can learn how to build sets.
Right.
I wasn't a graphic designer whenever I came to the print shop. She's like, you're fucking kidding me. I was like, no, I taught myself how.
Yeah.
For some reason, I have always had this, like, this is going to sound bad. I think I'm better than people.
Not bad at all. Confidence.
Alright guys, that was an episode of
No. I do hold myself to a higher standard because I'm able to learn quick. And I'm able to teach myself a lot of things. And I would say that's one of my, positive attributes.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I've gained the success that I have found. Not like, success in a loose term, because I haven't really found financial success from it.
Right.
But
good luck.
But that brings us to our topic, which is how do we define success?
Right.
And there will be a little bit of a caveat later, which in that case, using your own criteria, who is the most successful person that you know?
Okay.
So, Vinny, how do you define success?
So, unfortunately, I do have that, outward influence of, this is a successful person because they drive a nice car, and this is a successful person because they have a nice house, no financial troubles and stuff. So that is, I think that is the upper echelon of success, but if we're talking personally, I have no idea. I am still in a place in my life where I'm trying to find what my success is, and I think for me it's a goalpost thing. Every time I get to a certain point, I'm like, no, this ain't quite it yet either. So let's keep pushing. When I first got before we started doing any of this or making sketches again. I was working as a logistics assistant in a shipping company, and I was like, I got to this position just based on my intelligence. They saw that I was good at these things. I don't have a degree in this, which normally you would need to get this kind of job and stuff. Now, there's a lot of intricacies based on the specifics of that job, but I won't go into all that. But it felt like, oh wow, okay, I'm finally, I'm not making the windows, I'm not making the food, I am now like conducting some of the business and moving the parts around, which seems more suited to me. This is a level of success. And when that seemed to have a ceiling to it that was impenetrable, I was like, well, was this really a success? And it actually made me rethink everything in my life. And so I moved into my car, I think. Oh no, that's right. I ended up this was what led me to the van. I ended up moving into a van so that I could focus on this sort of thing full time. And to me, that felt like the first truly successful thing I had ever done. So it's really been a goalpost thing because we made the movie, and I was like, that was a success, But then, the movie's over. So what's next? So it wasn't really a success because it doesn't last. You got to keep doing stuff. So for me, I think in talking my way around that, which is what I did. I just took a walk there. I think for me, success is unattainable because the minute you think you have it, then you stop. And so, for me, success is a what's the word I'm looking for here?
It's like more like the chase.
Is the chase? Yeah,
That's
think.
a good way to put it.
Because at least at the level I'm operating at, I cannot rest on the laurels of a Sweded Die Hard because there's no check coming in from that.
Right.
So for me, it's the chase of the thing, and hopefully that just keeps going up and up.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Get at me, Hollywood. I was almost an extra in the new Superman movie.
No.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
Yeah, they didn't bring me in. But
Jerks.
They tried. It was crazy. They gave him the hair and everything.
they sent me wardrobe.
They made him try on the Superman suit.
I was an extra dressed as Superman.
Yeah, just for fun.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It'd be like in the Spider-Man movies where they're like in New York and then the people dressed as Spider-Man swings by.
Yeah,
you're just Superman.
Like a fanboy.
Yeah, you're just like that's Superman.
They did that in a comic book once. Yes, I think it was a Superman comic book. Like, you've got all these children dressed up as various superheroes, and then one of them is like a vague Spider-Man type, and I was like, that's not what you did there. But, okay, so that's...
Wasn't the creators friends, though, and that's why they do that?
No, not necessarily. There's just kind of, at this juncture...
I know it's kind of weird how that all flows together.
It's kind of like a professional... Nerds! Or something. Yeah.
Nerds! Nothing but a bunch of nerds!
You happy with it? Leave those levels.
I tried not to.
And we know who Lex Luthor is now.
Yeah. We know who Lex Luthor is.
Hey, just because I'm bald doesn't mean...
But, no, there's like a professional...
Well, you're smart, too,
thing.
now
They
remember.
just kind of jab each other back and forth. All right, so, yeah, for me, that's what... if any of that makes sense.
So
kind of makes sense.
So for Vinny, the concept of success is more based on the chase.
Yeah, I believe that's what I'm getting at there.
Which, that's... Yeah, I like that a lot. I would agree with that. Dot, how about you?
Well... As someone that's had several businesses through the years, that's actually how me and you met. Was one of my first businesses was like a variety thrift store, I think is what it was. And like when we had to close that down, my sister looked at me and she's like, "We failed." I'm like, "No, we didn't." She's like, "What do you mean we didn't fail? We had to shut down our store and then we had to sell everything." I'm like, "Yeah, but I don't consider that as a failure." And she's like, "Seriously, why do you keep saying that?" And I said, "Because I learned something in the process, and I know what to do and what not to do now." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, that's a good point." And she's like, "I didn't think about it that way." And the funny thing is, my sister is a business degree. And she's like, "Yeah, that's a very good point." Because she's all about numbers, and she's the type that's straight to the book and everything, and I'm like, not, obviously. But, like, how I consider success, though, as long as you're happy at the end of the day, I consider that success alone. I mean, not everything's going to go your way, obviously. Not everything's going to go well. But as long as you look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and you're like, I'm alive, I'm well, I'm good. I consider that a huge success.
Okay.
Yeah. That's kind of similar to what I was going towards. Because I think that you can't... I do think that the fun of success is chasing it. Yeah. I think that... I always make this joke that if somebody's like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, maybe it's the friends we made along the way. Like, it is. Like, doing the stuff at the theater, you could call that successful. I've won an award for it in Portsmouth. Yeah. But
expanding on that for myself, like I think I can't remember who had asked me about it, or maybe it was while we were doing our. Oh, that's right. It was it the last day or the first day where we were doing all like. Because you led the charge on this, and I'd never done this in the green room before, but everyone goes around and talks about what they learned from...
Oh, yeah, sharing the love.
And I think mine was something along the lines of, like, doing this play proved to me that I could still do this, and in my own opinion, showed me that I actually might be good at this, because in my personal opinion, my old tenure at the PLT, I don't think I was very good. And I've got video proof of that. So, and I don't think I don't know if it was like, you know, age and experience, like, through life, like, brought me to a place where I could do better at it. But based on what everyone told me, I did a good job. If you ask me, like, I just made it up as I went. And I did the best I possibly could, and I'm sorry to anyone who didn't like it. But yeah, I learned that I could still do it. So, like I'm not on the Marlowe's ballot for this season and whatnot, and I don't give a shit because I'm like, I did the thing I wanted to do.
Yeah. And like that's exactly where I was going. Is like if I wanted accolades, if I wanted to be noticed, if I wanted to have my name up in the lights, I wouldn't be doing it for free.
Yeah. I might do it for free, but I'd be aiming at something a little more prestigious.
I think that what defines success to me is satisfaction. Because I've learned recently that I could go work some manual labor, like 5 to 9 job. Mm-hmm. And I could bust my ass, and I could come home to a house that I own with all the stuff that I don't have to pay on and blah, blah, blah. But I don't think that would be satisfactory for me. Yeah. And I think that I have finally come to terms with being comfortable being comfortable with the famine side or with the feast side of feast or famine. Because I'll either be running around all over the place and talking to everybody and seeing everybody I know and like, hey, what's up? How are you doing? Like, right. A lot of the people that we met at the art walk, it was people that I knew. And they were like, what's up? Really like,
so the art walk is amazing.
It was a whole lot of fun, and I love doing that. I had like 4 energy drinks.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. My arms were shaking. But I like
that just means they were working.
They were working.
A little too well.
A little too well. But one of the fun things was after that I went and I hung out with a few friends, and then I went to a show that night, and it was super, super fun. And in the back of my head, I'm like, oh, am I spreading myself too thin? Am I, like, you know, is my social battery going to be drained after this? And yeah, it was. It was very much drained. And yeah, I was spreading myself a little too thin. But I went home and I had some of the best sleep I had had in forever. And I got up the next day yearning to do the same thing again. I wanted to go back. I wish there was an event that, like, as soon as I woke up, I was like, I wish I could go hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
I wish that I could do this. And that, I think that would bring the holistic side of success to the forefront of my brain. Yeah, of course I want my own house, a decent car, and a 7-foot tall goth girlfriend who's with me for
7 foot.
Yeah, don't question me, Vinny. I will accept zero.
I mean, I'm not yucking you young. I'm just
with
like, wow,
6-inch heels.
Vinny, I will accept zero criticism. Right
There's
now.
no criticism. I'm just saying you're narrowing the field a lot. There's not a lot of those out there.
He just wants an Amazonian.
I do. I want don't knock it.
I'm not knocking it. I get it. I'm just saying. It's going to be a little harder to find. Maybe bring it down to 6'5", 6'8".
No.
No.
Shoot for the stars, Vinny. Even if you miss, you'll land on the moon.
One of them.
But no. But yeah, like, of course I would like to have a family, a house, a car, everything. And I would like to get paid, a substantial amount for what I do.
That'd be great.
But one of the things that's gonna bring that is just consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how my body, or I know how my brain reacts, and I know how my body reacts, and I know how I can kind of hotwire myself to be more, I don't know, kind of like not acceptable, but like acceptable in those situations. No, like, I can be more, I don't know, forthcoming.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I can, I can learn more. I can see more people, and I can more efficiently make connections.
Yeah. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Especially with what you said there about the feast famine side.
Yeah.
I know that one of the things I came to terms with along the time when I was becoming miserable in my job and like rethinking everything was that I kind of had to assess, what do I really give a shit about? And now before this, I had lived in my car by choice twice just to make a big change. I had found myself in a couple situations that were unfavorable to me, and I've had a tendency in the past to make an extreme decision in the face of trying to get to the thing I want faster, because I see this whole journey, this whole long journey to it, and I'm like, you don't have to do all that. It's just a jump to the thing, you know? And that doesn't work with everything, but it has worked a couple times for me. So I said, well, clearly, I don't care as much about having a place. In my life, we grew up all over Ohio. There was no one home that was ever home. There were houses we lived in various places. And Scioto County is the first place where we ever stuck to a place. But even here, it was jump from this house, jump from this house, jump to this house, jump to this house. Now I'm living in a Jeep. Now I'm in this apartment. Now I'm in a new apartment. Now I'm living in a Monte Carlo. Now I'm in this Florida. Now I'm in this Florida. So, like, there's been no stability there. So, of course, that was out the window, all of my stuff. I was like, yeah, you know what? I do really like my stuff. But a storage unit's much more affordable than rent right now. So we'll pare it down. And I got rid of a ton of shit. And I'm really happy I did, because I had a lot of stuff that was just like, I'm a nerd, so I guess I have to have this. There was
a lot of anime toys.
No anime toys. Not many
yes,
anime
he did.
toys. Some Dragon Ball stuff.
They were weirdly sticky.
Well, all of my toys are sticky. And
oh my.
All of them. Not just the anime toys. Come on now.
For our audio-only listeners, Vinny's whipping his dick out right now.
and the only way you can prove I'm not is by signing up on Patreon. If I did do that on Patreon, our Patreon would be taken down, so they'd go to the Patreon. It's not there anymore. Like, oh, I guess he did.
Can we show feed on Patreon?
I think. I don't know.
I think so.
Listeners, pay very close attention to what I'm about to tell you next.
Anyways, yeah, no, I just kind of, by taking stock of everything, like, I really decided what was important to me, and it became clear that I was like, man, I might get to 60, 70 years old and still have to work. Because, especially, and you bring society into it and all that, and that's really the reason why, but, like, at this juncture, what I'm doing right now, I am not setting myself up for retirement, for sure. And I had the conversation, actually, earlier today with someone where I just plainly put it out. I was like, look, as far as, like, filmmaking goes, I have no hope of ever getting paid for this stuff unless I do it and somebody eventually gives a shit or, like, goes like, oh, I like what he did with it. Like, he wrote this and edited it. Let's bring him in, see what he can do over here. I'll pay him a couple $100 and then maybe that's a snowball. But, like, I can't make it happen. So if it doesn't, I have to be okay with that. And so that kind of really led me to an understanding that I'm doing what I love. I'm doing what I enjoy. And if I don't get paid for it, okay. Because it's really the doing of it.
Yeah, I get that. Like, beginning of this year, I started reflecting on my life and what things been going the last 10 years. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere close to what I want to do. I'm like, I love my job, but it's just a part-time job with a t-shirt place that I have to drive 30 minutes to one way, which kind of sucks. But I'm like, something's got to change. And like a month ago, like that was around New Year's, I decided, and like I kept thinking about it in the back of my head. I'm like, something's got to change.
Yeah.
And then like 2 months ago, I started looking at things and thinking, I'm like, I really want to start a business again. I want to really jump into my artistic side of things. I want to make that work. And I was talking to my sister. She's like, I want to help. I'm like, sweet. Let's do something. Yeah. And then like a month ago, I started selling like half of my collection. Like because I collect a lot of Fallout stuff. Okay. And like I've had money set aside to do something. I don't know exactly what. And then I'm still like trying to figure out what I want to do. But I feel like I feel comfortable with what steps I'm taking, like with going for my master's and doing like some substitute teaching, because I want to learn how to teach kids anyway, and what best way to do it is jumping into it like you did with the graphic design. Right. Like honestly, that's the best route to teach yourself how to do anything, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, and as far as work and all that goes, because you had said something about Adam, about you could go get a 9 to 5 and do all that stuff. And what I do want to take a moment to say is that if that is something that makes somebody happy, is like they go to their job, they come home at a specific time every day, they got their weekends off, barbecue with the kids, church on Sunday and all that. If that is your success, fucking fantastic. It just doesn't work for me. Like you said, it doesn't work for you.
And that's kind of what I was about to say too, is one of the things that one of the huge things that I had forgotten to mention during my whole spiel was the biggest, the biggest echelon of success for me is being able to willfully stick to your guns. Mm-hmm. No matter what, you're able to make your decision, be comfortable with it, and live with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you can acknowledge mistakes.
Yeah,
in the face
absolutely.
Of that, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're like going like, oh, I should have never done that. Nah.
But like seeing somebody who's just completely like if somebody was like, oh yeah, my restaurant doesn't sell ketchup on their burgers, and then them like 10 years later being like, yeah, I said that. That's not. People ended up ordering ketchup on their burgers, so we put it there anyways. I still don't think that ketchup should go on burgers.
Yeah.
Them being able to, like, have that wherewithal to, like, be like, I am saying things with my nuts on the table.
God.
Like, I am going to say exactly what it is. If you guys want to do something else, go right ahead.
Yeah.
Which will, here in a bit, bring me to...
It's kind of like having accountability of yourself and awareness around you, as well as being self-reliant, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's, like, super important to have those.
You can have your opinions and your beliefs and stuff, and then if you realize it's not the best thing for this setting, but it's still something you believe, and you're willing to go, like, I'm going to go ahead and let this happen, but this is still what I think. I don't get why you guys want to do this, but all right.
Yeah, I mean...
We had that with this company. Again, like, the fact that we're streaming this right now, the fact that we've been streaming it all and stuff, it was something that I don't get. I don't understand why people are entertained by it. And some people have given me, like, guidelines of, like, this is why it entertains me. And I have a better understanding, but I still, in my core, I'm like, okay.
You're kind of old-fashioned in that sense,
I could live
opinion.
without us doing this entirely. I don't care.
Vinny's favorite hobby is to stand outside and yell at clouds.
At clouds?
Yeah, as they pass through his lawn, he's like, "Oh, fuck are you?"
I enjoy playing video games in private with nobody else around.
Oh gosh.
But I said, okay, you know what? Because Travis had some stuff when he was with the company that he wanted to try, and I was a little too steadfast on that doesn't matter. We're not going to do that stuff. I don't want to do it. If you do it, whatever.
Yeah.
And so this time around, I was like, all right, you know what? We'll try it. I still don't get it, but if we do it and it doesn't hurt anything else, fine. And I think we've found a way where it doesn't hurt anything else, and I actually did end up enjoying doing it, even though I still don't get it. And again, if we stop doing it, if after this we're like, we're never going to stream again, I'll be like, all right, I've got Sundays back.
For the record, just to be perfectly crystal clear, he still doesn't fucking get it.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so there's like a functional, just within this company, a functional version of what you're saying there. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's one of the fun things is we can bounce shit off of each other and not have it be taken personally.
For the most part. But
that's why I was number 3 out of 4 kids, and I was stuck between 2 brothers, so I'm used to this shit. It's nothing to me.
Yeah.
This shit ain't nothing to me, man.
But I've also found with work, like, this really weird way of still paying the bills while not conforming to the 9-to-5 thing. I do have a paycheck job, but that's 2 days a week if I want it to be. I've been doing 3 days a week.
The consistent job?
Yeah.
That's what I call it, the consistent job.
Consistent job. And it's really suitable to me. The pay is like a set standard pay, unless I take on a little extra work. What I make an hour is really based on my skill level. Like, if I can get everything done within a certain amount of time, I'm making $18 an hour. If I'm a little tired that day, it takes me a little longer, I'm making $15 an hour, It really depends on how long it takes me to do the job, and I just put my headphones in, I go to it. And then the rest of my income is all just gig work. I've got a couple of consistent clients I picked up through that I see weekly and everything. And I sit in a comfortable position where I'm like, this is working. I don't have to stop doing this. It lets me do all the other stuff that I want to do, whereas like a regular 9-to-5 always got in the way. And if something good comes along, like, I don't even know what kind of job would get me to stop doing this. But like, if something came along and someone was like, hey, we have this position at this company, would you be interested in doing that? Because we know you do this, this, and this. And I want to just do that. I want to make the switch. It's easy enough to go like, all right, yeah, I'm not really giving up anything crazy here to do that. And it works for me. And then if that stops working, I now have the comfortable mindset and to know that I can just stop doing that and go back to what I was doing. And that's a really comfortable place, and I really like that, because work can be one of those things that brings the most unhappiness in someone's day-to-day, and that hurts their level of success, or their what they idealize as success. And
a lot of times I've noticed, like, a lot of people say that's like a sign of ADHD, which of course seems like to be super popular term these days. But I mean, it makes sense though that a lot of people are starting to realize that they have it, because they're not happy with their current situation, so they want to change it.
Yeah,
it's the chemicals in the McDonald's.
All the chemicals in the brain.
All this McDonald's.
We'll talk about McDonald's.
Everybody talking about everybody McDonald's in 8
I haven't eaten there in 8 years.
We talked about McDonald's on the last episode.
Now that Tammy Hawthorne.
Yeah, they exclusively use only GMO products at Tammy Hawthorne.
Tammy Hawthorne's, yes.
What's the opposite of organic? Whatever it is, they fucking use
absolutely
100%
synthetic.
100% synthetic.
It's on the packaging.
I had shared the what was it, the post that we made with me in it, and it was talking about coming soon, and your Tammy Hawthorne's coming free to YouTube.
And any participating YouTube.
And somebody commented on it, and on the logo it says "Sometimes Fresh." Somebody caught that, and I was so glad, because that's the funniest fucking thing. It's just "Sometimes Fresh."
Which, for anyone who doesn't know, Dot here made that logo, and it is perfect. If you don't get it just from sight what it's supposed to be parodying, it's a parody on Tim Hortons, and it's fantastic. It's
Sometimes Fresh, and I think I marked out the trademark.
Yeah, you did. You put a red X on the trademark.
Yeah. Didn't someone leave with one of those stickers on their cup? It might have been Chelsea who did it.
I think Chelsea.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So Chelsea has like a Tammy Hawthorne's tumbler now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no. So I've got no segue out of that. I think I messed up the segue.
Speaking of tumblers, our sponsor today.
We're gonna be tumbling into Tammy Hawthorne.
Can we come up with a sponsor like
we could
right
do
now?
fake sponsors. We did. I think there were a couple times we did fake sponsors back in the old STC podcasting days.
Today is sponsored by Mark and Max's Macronutrition Computers.
Back row?
Nice. I know that every time I'm on my computer, I feel so malnourished. Now, you could argue I could get up and just go downstairs and make something to eat. Not with whatever you just said.
Not with Mark and Max Trash Mo Computers.
I can recycle my trash and eat it now.
Use promo code Y.
Just the letter.
Oh, God.
And so they're chock full of Y chromosomes for some reason. The computer runs on Y chromosomes.
Yeah, it's a dude.
It's an abomination of science.
It's the manliest man I've ever met.
It's the manliest piece of metal I've ever met. And that's basically, when you look at this thing, it's basically a piece of metal.
It's just a giant hunk of, like, carbon steel.
Metal and malformed flesh.
Yeah. It has a mouth that just says, "Kill me!
Kill me,
please!"
I think we've lost that sponsor.
Sorry, Mike and Mo, whatever the fuck your name was.
So moving on from fleshy computers. Was the implication that we're supposed to eat the flesh of the computer?
Vinny, I don't think there was any implication
I
at all.
lost track of where you guys were as soon as he started talking about Mike and Mo's.
Hey, it was Mark and Max or something.
Or whatever.
It was Mark and Max, maybe.
Maybe. I think I said Mike and Mix. Like, it's time for everybody's favorite segment. Adam needs to smoke a cigarette.
In the middle of the podcast.
Yeah, you guys are doing great. Just take 2 minutes.
All right.
You're supposed to be leading this.
We're going to take a little break here, and then when we come back, something else from Adam.
No, don't you ever cut me off like that again, you bastard.
Give us a quiet moment to cut. All right, we are back. Adam, did you enjoy your cigarette?
Yeah.
Was it worth me editing the podcast?
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
It's always worth it, Vinny. I'm just trying to help you out.
They're trying to help me out.
Yeah.
Look, trust me, I'm good enough at editing to know I don't need to edit the podcast if I can help it.
You want to hear something that makes you feel old?
Sure.
I was talking to my nephew. He's 15. I'm like, I don't want to ever see you smoking, and I don't want to see you vaping. He's like, nobody smokes anymore. That's old people stuff. I'm like, what?
See, I'm keeping.
He did not just say that.
I'm keeping a tradition alive.
Yeah.
My buddies who like
you're a maverick.
Yeah. I'm actually a Lucky Strikes guy, but but
not affiliated.
But like my buddies who like whenever I started going to the bars and drinking, we were smoking. Like we were smoking cigarettes. Whenever I turned 18, I kind of, this is an insane tangent. I started vaping whenever I was like 15, and then I was like, oh, I should just start smoking instead because that's the cool thing. That was like Tumblr era fucking nicotine addiction craze.
Look, I do not support smoking. If you don't smoke or you're looking to quit, go for it. But it does objectively look cool.
It looks way fucking cooler.
It look cool. That's why I smoked for like a few weeks in my early 20s because I was like, this will help me pick up
in college, I know I did, especially if I went to the bars. Usually the cigarillos.
Oh yeah, like the black and
And then when the vaping started, I actually got some of the skinny ones for my job, and
oh cool,
I just saved so much money on the cigarillos, even though they were cheap.
I forgot about that. So I was smoking cigarettes in my early 20s, and when the robot cigarettes came out, when they were just like a long black piece of metal with a blue light on the end of it.
Oh yeah, the blues.
Yeah, I did pick those up because I was like, I'm smoking in the 31st century.
I was just excited that they had apple flavor. And then I found out that I have severe allergy, and it causes me to have asthma issues. I'm like, I can't even be around cigarette smoke anymore.
It got old real fast for me, and then I was I just look like a robo douche.
A robo douche.
Which I am slowly but surely trying to stop smoking. I have cut back, but obviously not enough.
Not successful at that quite yet.
Not successful at that quite yet. But speaking of success,
keep us on track, Captain.
You got it. No, so we've talked a little bit about success and how we define it, and personally. So one of the, and I think that a lot of people have different ideas of different people whenever it comes to this, but I want to talk about who you guys, as well as myself. Sorry. I had a burp, but it wouldn't come out.
I'm not editing that. That's staying in.
You're screwed.
Who we think is successful by our own standards, and then maybe by everybody else's standards, kind of thrown into a pot.
Okay.
So, like, if you could combine everything that we had talked about, who is, it could be somebody you personally know, somebody you've never met in your life, but you really like the way that they live their life. Mm-hmm. How do you? Who is it you see that defines success for you?
Okay. Now, as far as
Can I make a guess on one of yours?
Yeah, go ahead.
Kevin Smith.
Oh my god, yeah! Yeah, good job.
I'm going to do Chelsea's card here and say, you talk about Kevin Smith every episode.
I don't think I did last episode. But maybe. I'm not sure, because he did make up a movie, or a franchise of fast food restaurants called Movies. Oh, so that might have come up. I can't remember. But what I was going to say before, Kevin Smith, which you guys know that I met him.
What?
That's actually pretty cool.
That is really cool.
But what I was gonna say is that like I don't pay attention to a lot of like the intricacies of like celebrities' lives or billionaires or so much like that. Actually, I should just go ahead and say like any billionaire is immediately not a success to me. Like probably leaning more towards their evil. Not probably, definitely. Like. We can have the Taylor Swift conversation if we want to, but I think that's a different podcast.
We'll let him deal with that.
But yeah, so like excluding billionaires, millionaires, stuff like that, you're just your run-of-the-mill celebrities, more down-to-earth people. I would say like one of the higher idealist versions of success that I have for myself would be Kevin Smith because.
He's a good one.
If you listen to his podcast or like anything that he is kind of a part of, like he is constantly reminding himself and everyone else that he's like, yeah, I'm just some fucking idiot from New Jersey, you know, like I took a shot and it worked and I just kept taking shots after that, and for whatever reason people haven't gotten rid of me yet, so that's kind of my attitude of my own version of my life and like where I aim to go, which is just continuing to take shots at things, and if it works out and for some reason I get to Kevin Smith level money and you know I can afford a nice home and all that, awesome.
Did you listen to his podcast with who played Lex Luthor in the Smallville show?
Oh, Michael Rosenbaum, yeah.
Did you watch that podcast with him?
I did.
That was very good, and I love the fact that he took accountability of himself, and then he realized that he was super negative, like in his early career towards other creators, and he's like, there's no point to it. He's like, I am not going to be the person to stand between that person and their dream. He's like, I have no reason to. Why should I? He's like, I'd rather be their cheerleader. That does way more for that person and everybody around them. Yeah. He's like, I'd rather do that. And I love how he looks at life now. And you could tell in his whole life has changed that way.
Oh, yeah.
And it's changed for the positive. And I mean, he was able to lose weight, even though I think he had surgery.
That was after the heart attack.
Yeah. I mean,
which ended up changing.
It was a widowmaker, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which most people don't survive those.
Yeah.
And
it's just amazing. He was high out of his mind, and so they said that probably helped keep his heart rate
I mean...
Yeah. And now he doesn't smoke pot anymore either. Which
being stoned cures heart
disease. And he don't wear his hockey jerseys anymore, but I mean...
Yeah, he goes through those phases. But yeah, no, I mean, he is a good...
He's talking about
standard of, like, what I would see as a success, not just as like financially or professionally, but also the stuff you brought up, like
stuff.
His capacity for growth and analyzation is something I now try to model myself after. I just always be open to learning, and I don't care for the time that drama takes anymore.
Exactly, and like, how
if somebody else is, if somebody's out there like starting a band, like whatever, like why shouldn't I share that to my story if it comes across my timeline?
Exactly. I like on Facebook years ago, I used to be super negative about certain things. I actually had a friend in college that I hadn't seen in almost 5 years, and he's like, my friend Brian, he looks at me, he messaged me, he's like, you do realize that most of your posts on Facebook have been super negative. He's like, I'm this close to unfollowing you, but I wanted to tell you as a friend how your stuff is coming across. So I went back through the last couple of years of my posts on Facebook, and he wasn't wrong, and I'm like, damn, Brian, you're right. And I'm like, so I took a mini break from social media altogether at that point. This is right around my mom passed away, so it was about almost 8 years ago now, 9 years ago. And I'm like, I do need to go back through this and just self-analyze and self-elevate stuff and realize, I'm like, I said, even if I pretend to be positive, at least that positivity is like, it's doing like chemical changes in my head anyway, because it's proven fact that it does that by psychologists. If you pretend to be positive, it comes out And other people's like, oh, they're a pretty positive person. I mean,
yeah, that's
it makes happiness, and that's a good thing.
That's kind of what's that like. If you could see the difference in me from like a year ago to today, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Because I used to be like, I'm a piece of shit. I did this. I did that.
I mean,
I need this. I needed help with this. I was blah blah blah, and your synapses in your brain literally, if you do that, they find the path of least resistance. Mm. So they're used to that, and they'll do that. So one of the things that my therapist had told me was, if you catch yourself, because I was having a fucking like down month, like I was almost drinking again. I was going bad, and
it was going south.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck to do. And she was like, well, it's going to sound cliche, but anytime you think of something, like if you say something mean to yourself, like, oh, I'm stupid, immediately say out loud 5 positive things about yourself. And I was like, what the fuck is this hippie dippy bullshit? What is this load of crock?
Load of crock?
Crock of shit. That's what I meant.
Crock of loads.
Yeah, what is this crock of warm loads?
I mean, yeah.
I ended up doing that, and I was like, okay, whatever. And now I've caught myself being like, oh, no, I'm really smart.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone through imposter syndrome?
Oh,
it's
bruh.
horrible.
It sucks.
So
every day.
I even on this podcast earlier, I was like dipping a toe into self-deprecation about my acting ability and stuff. What I've started doing is just kind of, because I have to remind myself when somebody compliments me, just say thank you. You don't have to explain why they're wrong or why you think they're wrong. You just say thank you, and then like acknowledge that at least their perspective is possibly true.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's imposter syndrome.
And the thing is, like, that self-deprecation thing, I grew up, like, you guys are a little bit older than me. I'm 25. And
He's a puppy.
I am. Call me a good boy. Sorry, that slipped out. No, but one of the things, like, growing up is...
You hear that, 7-foot-tall goth girls?
Yeah, where are you? I will gladly woof. I will bark. I am not above it. But one of the things that, whenever I was growing up, is, like, there was all the funny people, like, on YouTube, or, like, stand-up comedians. They were all the self-deprecating, like, all the people that you look up to. They're like, oh, I'm just a piece of shit. Like, I relish in being a piece of shit. And at a certain point, it just gets old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're like, oh, you know me, I'm a piece of shit. And then you're pretty much begging for, like, comfort in a way.
Yeah.
Where there are people like, oh, no,
you're never going to give yourself the compliment, so the only thing that keeps your head out of the oven is making other people compliment you. And so it becomes a game to, like, garner as many compliments as possible. Yeah,
and so
I played that game.
So there was a point where I did just pull myself out. I was like, that's not fun. I don't like... Well, people didn't want to hang out with me. Because nobody wants to invite fucking Eeyore out. Like, nobody... Luckily, Eeyore had some good friends, and I had some good friends. But there is a point where it's like, God, like, give it a rest. Like, you can watch someone else on YouTube and take their personality.
Yeah.
Like, be funny. Be happy.
Well, now, one part of the conversation about, like, positivity, and we actually have, like, the idea to do a whole podcast on this, so I won't expand on this too much, because I think that's another one of your topics, is, like, toxic positivity and helpful
when does
negativity.
When does positivity become toxic, and when does negativity become
because it is a belief of mine that there is useful anger. That, like, you know, all the psychology and stuff tell you, it's all useless. I'm like, no, not necessarily. I feel like there's passion in anger. There's you can find direction through anger and stuff. Now, being bipolar, I've had that is my my emotional drug of choice through that
Your outlet.
Yeah, is I lean into anger and stuff. So it's been a very long, almost 20-year journey getting to a space where I can actually manage that without medication and stuff. I had a bad experience with medication at 17, and I've never gone back.
Understandable.
So it was a very hard fight to like train this thing to like do that, and also taking up therapy in recent years only helped enhance that. I have a 3 questions thing that I do and everything, and that has helped me sort out when is my anger valid. And surprise, 90% of the time I'm getting pissed off over nothing. But there are times when it's useful, like, you know, when I think about billionaires. Like, there is a really good reason I'm mad at them and what they've done to our world. And I think that's useful because it puts me in a place where I can better express, like, this is why I don't like these people, instead of just saying, fuck billionaires, you know?
Yeah, it kind of lights a fire under your ass.
Yeah, exactly. And that will cause me to, like, go and research stuff, because now I'm mad. Now I want to know, why am I pissed off?
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Which, like, bringing it back to those billionaires...
So, yeah, you don't have to be positive all the time.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a will and a way, basically. Mm-hmm. And my mom was always that type to always say, she's like, you need to pick your battles. And it used to piss me off whenever she said it. I'm like, why do you keep saying that? Now as an adult, I find myself saying that to myself quite often. I'm like, if I'm mad at someone, I'm like, is it worth being mad at them? Is it worth wasting my time thinking about this? That's what I do.
Phrase, and it's so... Because I feel like I have a poor way of communicating sometimes. Like, I feel like the words I say, like, make sense to me.
Join the club.
So, instead of pick your battles, what I'm constantly saying to myself is, that's not worth expounding upon. It's literally a phrase that pops up in my head. That's not worth expounding upon.
I love those types of phrases. They just pop in. They just stick to you.
But yeah, so I think Dot, it's your turn to talk about. I've talked about Kevin
I was slowly trying to like.
Yeah. I hand it back to you.
Well, how I view success, I mean, obviously, is how a person portrays themselves to themselves as well as each other. I look at some millionaires as with some positivity. At least I try. For like example, like Disney, sometimes I don't like what Walt Disney himself did, but at the same time, I'm like, this is a man that was Baker at least 2 or 3 times in his entire life, completely lost his studio, and still was able to get out of there, and he literally built a theme park in the middle of a swamp in Florida. I mean, you gotta give him props for some things.
Sure. I mean, because...
But at the same time, you're like, he also stole stuff from other artists, but...
I've gotten into conversations about Gigi Allen with people who really love Gigi Allen.
Oh, gosh.
And they're like, well, you have to acknowledge that this, and this. So, because Gigi Allen had his punk influence. Like, he did a thing or two.
He was
for a thing or two.
But that does not mean I have to like or respect the person.
No.
So same thing with Walt Disney.
There's one thing
Yeah, he did a lot of really innovative shit, and there's like an argument to be made that media and like movies and television would not be what it is today without like his hand that he played in it. It's a possibility, but also still an evil piece of shit.
I mean, I'm not going to deny. I mean, he did approve basically Nazi propaganda at one point. So.
Are we even going to talk about Song of the South?
That too.
We'll say that for a different podcast.
I mean,
we got a whole topic.
We'll wait till Chelsea gets here for that one. That sounds bad. I did not be pretty about that way.
She's going to hate.
I still refuse to edit any further than I have.
But I mean, personally, I guess my heroes would be more like my grandparents. They had 7 kids. I don't know how they had time to even do all the other stuff they did. Like, my grandfather worked at the atomic plant full time, and he was a mechanical engineer that he taught himself how to be. And I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then he also volunteered and started a fire department, which I'm like, how in the world did you have time to do all this, Papal?
So he's really...
And my grandma was the same way. She was a registered nurse. She helped bring community action to the area.
Damn.
She also, like, started a bunch of stuff in the area. And, like, people, like, unfortunately, I guess you could say, I was named after my grandma. So every time people see my name, they're like, are you Dot Flanagan's granddaughter? I'm like, yes.
So
to this day.
People who followed their passions, which arguably better than ours.
Yeah.
Sounds like their passions did a lot of good for people.
Exactly. I
and we're
mean,
just jerking off on the internet.
I don't know how they
gave that
did
up.
it, and it just blows my mind how they were able to do all that. And I'm like, it's
and they made them work. They made it
exactly.
They made it work.
And my grandma used to tell me as a kid, she's like, follow your passion. She's like, that's where it's going to be. She's like, don't worry about the money, just do your passions. And so she, like, out of all their grandkids, I'm one of the few that went to art school. My brother and I should say, because he gets mad if I don't say him too. Sorry, Charlie.
Oh, that's a perfect name for that situation.
And like, she always admired that, because like all my other cousins, they did doctorals. One's a doctor now, a couple are nurses, and I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I don't like bodily fluids, so. So she always told me, she's like, just follow your passions, don't worry about what other people say. And I'm like, that's pretty impressive coming from one of my biggest idols.
Yeah. And I think that's see, like, that's the weird thing where it's like people say, oh, follow your passions, follow your dreams, you can be anything you want to. But then whenever it's not something that's like, or whatever it's like sort of contrary to the status quo, people are like, but not like that.
Well, I mean, she followed her passions, was she wanted to help people as a nurse. Mm-hmm. Well, the funny thing is, and my grandma was really well known as a nurse around here. The problem is, when she went to school, she almost failed out of school.
Yeah. And
I did not know that until she told me when I was in college. She's like, yeah, I almost failed out of school. She's like, I went to 3 different nursing schools before I finally graduated. I'm like, 3? She's like, yeah. She's like, I got denied out of 1. I'm like, Grandma. She's like, but I didn't. She's like, I followed my passion. She's like, you got to do the same thing. I'm like, okay.
But on top of what you said there with the you can be anything that you want to be type of thing, which I know was like the big phrase when at least we were growing up and stuff. People said the shit out of that.
Oh yeah.
But nobody ever like elaborated on it. And unfortunately, we are in a world today where it is technically, yes, you can do whatever you want, but especially nowadays,
it's not sustainable.
It is so much harder to do than it ever was for a large variety of things.
Market saturation.
Yeah.
Just
poor economy.
If anything, it makes it a little easier to know if you're going in the wrong direction, I want to say. Because if the road's going to be hard and that doesn't suit you, if you're like, oh, the end game here is not worth going through all of this to get to it, then you've just answered your question. You're not following your passion. You're not passionate about it. Like, you just kind of want to do it. And there's a ton of things you can kind of just want to do. I want to play more video games, but I'm not passionate about them, so I don't play a lot of video games. Mm-hmm. However, I do find a way to fit movies in. Like, sometimes when I'm driving, which I probably shouldn't.
Brother!
Not supposed to do that.
Sometimes you can just listen to a movie, you know?
A silent movie. Just listen to it. I just really like the soundtrack.
I'm listening to a lot of Buster Keaton.
I was just about to say, dude, like, I was listening to this Buster Keaton movie the other day.
I've heard every Buster Keaton movie. Try me. Give me one tone from it.
That's the Newlyweds.
But yeah, no, I think that kind of helps point out what you're passionate about, and you're not going to be successful at something if you're just wanting to fart your way through it. Or you might. I mean, sometimes people get lucky. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
like
that does happen.
That was one of the things that I was going to say is, like, it's such, like, I used to be like, and I still am, like, oh, the only people who make it are the ones who really work their ass off, and the ones who blah, blah, blah. No. Some people just get insanely lucky, or they have a lot of financial backing.
Yeah.
Nepotism.
So, yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is, like, there was something that I had either seen on TikTok or something, but it's like, starting up a business is kind of like throwing a balloon at throwing a dart at a balloon at a carnival, where, you know, lower income people don't have as many chances to throw their dart. They have one chance to throw their dart, and if they miss,
and they're behind the other tent.
yeah. But then people who have they have more chances to throw that dart, they're eventually going to hit one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And
then the people who own the means of all of that production are the ones who are running the game.
Yeah.
So
it is kind of rigged, but
communism. Thanks for listening, everybody.
That's what this whole episode was about.
But no, I guess I'll talk about who I think is.
Yeah.
And I literally was thinking about this today because I was like, shit, I gotta have an idea of someone. And one of the, to kind of backpedal and give it a little bit of story, I've always loved cooking. Like, as a kid, I wanted to go to Le Cordon Bleu. I wanted to go to culinary school. I wanted to start a restaurant. My mom even got me my own little set of knives, and she called me chef. And, she got me one of the little toques, the hats.
Nice.
And it was super, super cool. I was making box mix Duncan Hines brownies, but I still felt like a chef. Then I started working in restaurants. They fucking suck. But I did enjoy cooking when I cooked. And so I would watch a bunch of cooking videos or cooking TV shows, movies. And one of the people that I ran across was a guy called Matty Matheson. And he's from Canada. He's this chef. He owns 4 or 5 different restaurants, and he's well known in the culinary world. But the thing is, he's kind of all famous chefs are now. He's punk, but quote unquote.
Wait a minute. I didn't know that there was this punk invasion of the culinary world.
Oh, dude, there's so many. Whenever I say punk, I really just mean tattooed. A lot of
Guy Fieri.
A lot of it comes from kind of around the time that Gordon Ramsay started cooking. There was a lot of people would treat chefs like rock stars, so chefs started to look like rock stars, and so they were doing drugs and drinking and coming in and running these restaurants, fucking all these hot girls. And there's this guy, Matty Matheson, which he did the same thing. But he ended up giving up all of his drinking and stuff. Still super punk. He's actually punk, which I know to define punk is fucking not punk.
While you were sitting here explaining all this, I was thinking, I was like, oh, it would be a good topic for the podcast.
Yeah, what is punk?
What is punk? Yeah. So we might do that one.
But I might skip that just to be punk.
But he talked about all these shows and shit that he'd been to, all this music, all of his buddies who he's best friends with the guy that started up Ruka, the clothing line.
That is cool.
He's super, super chill, and he also is one of the executive producers and stars in the show The Bear.
Oh,
he's the big guy with the tattoos.
Okay.
Split part. That's Matty
I've
Matheson.
not seen the show, but I've seen the advertisements.
Name.
Yeah.
He is, and the thing is, he had never acted before. So he started that, and he was he was one of their culinary consultants for designing the kitchen, designing the menu, all of this shit. But he's just a super cool dude who does what he loves, still treats everybody the exact same as he usually does, but wears like dumbass like fits. Like he has a little bit of money and he like has nice shoes, but he wears like these crazy fucking outfits. But people like him, and he's happy, and he's happy doing what he loves. So okay. I don't know. I think that would be like my celebrity. Like I aspire to. I don't aspire to be a celebrity or aspire to be a lot of celebrities, but he's one of the ones that I like. If I ended up like him, I think I'd be all right.
Yeah,
I think I would be content and happy. With, like, I don't know, like with the people that I know personally, it's tough.
Yeah, when you drew the line, like, this is the celebrity one for me, it got me thinking, like, yeah, mine was a celebrity too. Because a lot of my contemporaries are still on the same path that I'm on.
Yeah.
Like, so none of us have really been successful, like, endgame wise, to it. I think maybe one person I would have considered somewhat of a success would be Jim Hayes, who I knew through the theater, long since passed, but, a few years ago. But regardless, he's just this theater guy who had done a million things. He'd acted on stage and screen, and had so much, like, memorabilia to show for it. Had so many fucking stories, and I was like, man, that's a cool guy. And I used to just hang out with him and drink Jim Beam, and then we'd watch old movies and stuff. He just seemed to be like having a pretty good time with his life in the later years and everything. If there were any darker sides to that, I'm not sure, but it seemed like if I ended up there, like drinking with somebody like 60 years my junior while we watch the Olympics and make fun of people, like, yeah, sure. That's not a bad place to be. You know.
I don't know. There's just, I know a lot of people that still inspire me as my contemporaries. And I think that's one of the cool things about me being so young, because I've also come to terms with, I am young. Like, it might feel like I've lived 50 fucking years, but I think that's because of the alcoholism. but I'm still young. My brain's still rocking. Like, I'm still able to learn so much from so many people. And there's all these people who, in my heart and my brain, represent a different part of success that I don't recognize in myself yet. Like, my old roommate, he's a manager at a local business now, and he loves it. He's happy all the time. He doesn't use his degree, but he's happy. He has a great time. I get to see him, and it's always good. Another one. He's running another business, and he's insanely happy. He has a bunch of like really healthy and happy kids.
Aww.
And I don't know, like it's one of those things where I love the aspect of small towns and small communities because you get to know people in an intimate sense, but you still have the wherewithal to be on your own and learn from them. Because I could, if for some reason this were to go south, I could be like, I'm going to take a step back. But I can still watch you guys and hope for your success and learn from your success.
Yeah.
So it's this weird thing where it's like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. I
think I get where you're going. Yeah. Yeah.
So like trying to pick one person that I know personally to define success would be like, okay, how would you pick one bottle of water to describe H2O?
See, you went in a different direction. The reason I explained mine was because I thought you were going with like, I don't know anyone who's a success yet, but like,
everybody I know is giant failures. That's what I was saying.
I wasn't saying people I know are failures. I just say we're all on the same journey trying to.
Yeah, nobody else.
I have a problem with picking out like a celebrity or a big name myself. I mean, Kevin Smith's a good one, though.
Yeah, Kevin Smith is a really good one.
He really is.
I did call it, though. I'm so glad, because I knew as soon as you started to speak, I was like, wait, I know it. I mean,
just recently, I haven't told you guys too much about it. I think I told you a little bit about it at the artwork, but I did just refer to a movie concept that I'm thinking about writing and really taking to, like, this might be one of the things we file for a grant for. But, it's My Clerks is exactly how I described it.
You were talking about it.
Like, so that dude is in my lexicon pretty heavily.
Well, it's going to be based in a video game store.
Well, we were talking about it.
It's about the era of Sorta My Comics.
We were talking at the art walk, and Vinny was like, "Oh yeah, My Clerk. This is going to be My Clerks," and I was like, Like you're gonna hire people?
Yeah, people might actually get paid.
Like you're gonna. And I thought he was talking about like clerks, like gas station attendants.
Yeah,
and he was and I was like, oh, like Kevin Smith's Clerks.
Yeah.
It's like I can see it already in the fucking like two-tone.
No, this won't be in black or white, but yeah. Okay, so
try not to eat any puss on your way to the parking lot. It's like we can't do exactly what they said, but
it's gonna be Sweded Clerks.
Sweded Clerks.
That's all it's gonna be.
Hey, try not to eat any ass on your way to the parking garage.
Well, we could just completely remake the movie like we did.
Just change it a little bit.
No, cut out one or two scenes. Get rid of the funeral thing. No, but yeah, anyways, so there was a second half to that you wanted to do, right? This has been a very tangential podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're making us think too much.
Too. Yeah. So you want to? So we were going to talk about our personal. You know, the mic is picking that up. Good thing we're not like so picky about this being listenable. Because we break a lot of podcasting rules.
Look, one of my favorite podcasts is...
Rules are meant to be broken. Yeah. That's a lot to say.
That's punk rock. One of my favorite podcasts is called Dynamic Banter.
Oh my god.
It's Steve Zaragoza and Mike Falzone, and they literally have a soundboard, and it's so fucking stupid because they'll be in the middle of having a conversation and like just hit the most insane fucking things on a soundboard. They'll be like, yeah, I was having some cheese pizza the other day. Like, don't acknowledge it at all. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I love them. I love Steve Zaragoza. I've got my David and Ross pin on my battle jacket.
Nice.
Yeah. But we're gonna say who our heroes were, and then find like a collective hero?
Yeah, we could find like a collective. Yeah, that's definitely what I meant.
Okay.
A what?
Based on
what? You tell me.
No, I think I did. I think I did say that.
Okay. So you tell me.
Yeah. Like who no, like who can we all like? I don't know. Like we could if we could like Megazord.
Megazord.
If we can Megazord this like the most successful person we know.
You want a chimera?
Who's the nerd now? Nerd.
I guess it would be the person. I guess it would be whoever comes out of the machine when we shove all these people in. I don't know.
Yeah. So, Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito's not a bad one.
That's not a bad one.
That's not a bad one. Very representative of your grandparents.
I don't know. I never met them. Did they really like Jimmy John's?
Jimmy John's is a problem too. God damn it. Nothing's great. I can't even like Hulk Hogan anymore.
Oh wait, no, he didn't do the thing for Jimmy John's. He did fucking Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's.
Yeah.
That's right.
He's like, Jersey Mike's.
I think Jersey Mike's is okay.
I don't know. I don't know
anymore, man. Look, whatever. Why would I bring this up?
If they ever say Raising Cane's is immoral, I'm going to be upset.
God, that would be a leap. How would that even
Well, what's sad about Jimmy John's is he apologized. And he completely changed things around in his life because of that.
Who?
Jimmy John's.
Oh, did he?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, people still threw him under the bus after that.
I remember what was the fucking problem with Jimmy John's? Was something about the CEO?
He hunted some animals.
Oh, was he like it was trophy hunter?
Trophy hunting,
Yeah,
and
that's right,
he's
trophy
like that was the last time I'm going trophy hunting. And he actually started donating money towards
Now
the
there's
opposite of that.
There's some argument to be made for like, okay, yeah, he came out and apologized, but like, that doesn't mean he doesn't get to suffer. Like, it doesn't mean it's like over.
No,
it's like you still did the thing and you're apologizing, but what proof do we have that you actually changed it?
But it's been like 10 years since then.
Yeah,
People still throw him under the bus.
Right.
I think it's.
Yeah, it's whatever.
Sometimes you gotta forgive.
I didn't know he apologized though. So
I didn't either.
Yeah. So okay, now I don't care.
I fucking love
It's been this long. He apologized.
I fucking love Twitter.
He honestly didn't make it very public either. He did it on his own, if that makes sense. Which I'd give him some props
I think that's
for
the guy that we can all agree on success.
I think that's the most successful person I can think of. That's
James Jonathan himself.
Jimmy John's the man.
John Jacob Jingle Jimer Schmidt himself.
No, I have no idea how to answer that question of like.
I don't know.
So like, what is the what do you call it when you have the circles and they all converge?
Punnett Square.
So what's the middle there? Like,
what is that called?
Yeah, would it be the convergence point?
Isn't it compare and contrast?
Well, no, but like the circle. I know.
Yeah, like whatever the middle of the circles of all of our successful people would be. Who would that be based on all of these various characters we've introduced?
Circle. What is?
Now he's looking it up.
What is
Googling.
the circle thing called?
What is the circle thing called?
What is the intersecting circle thing called?
I don't know. I don't know who that is. Someone who acts, writes, directs, founds important local necessities, followed their passions, which I guess is kind of
Venn diagram.
Venn diagram. Yes. What is the Venn diagram person of all these people? And
Johnny Cash would be a good one.
Johnny Cash is an interesting one. Well, what did he establish, though? Did he establish anything like social importance?
He did.
I'm trying to include your grandparents here.
Him and his wife did create a non-profit, but I don't remember the name of it.
I think that he would have also gotten a foot in the door for like prison reform.
Yeah. You know what? That's I couldn't say what. I haven't done the research on it.
He led a really shitty life, and he took accountability of it. And when he married June, she dealt with all that shit at the beginning, and then at the end, he realized that she was everything to him.
Yeah. I really like that John C. Reilly played him.
That was a good movie.
Moving on. Ignored. But
Tim Robinson.
I think Johnny Cash is a good one. Lived a good long life too, and I think there is now a foundation in their name post-mortem. So yeah, like, all right, yeah, Johnny Cash would be the amalgamation.
I would say Johnny and June, to be honest, because you can't really have Johnny without June.
I think that one of the cool things that he did as well was like he was the victim of like record labels and stuff, and he did have that whole album where he just made bullshit songs and sold it, and they sold. And everybody bought them ironically, like the song where it's like "Stick 'em up, everybody."
That's
put all your money in
the duck or something. He gets turned into a duck.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the duck starts playing Johnny Cash songs. What the fuck? I don't remember.
Is this that movie Yesterday, but with Johnny Cash?
I don't remember the specifics about it, but he gets the brain of like a robber, and then his brain gets put into a duck or something, and the duck goes on tour singing Johnny Cash songs. Yeah, and something like that.
Are you sure you didn't just have like influenza?
No, that's the fucking. I'm dreaming. And the music video is hilarious. Like I just recently watched it. Yeah, it's crazy. So he's wearing this like yellow spandex with like a blue cape with a high collar on it while he's like running in and robbing people with his guitar.
Or like there's what was it? It was him and Liberace had like switched, or no, it was him and Elton John had switched wardrobes at one point.
Oh wow, no, I don't. I don't. think I knew about that.
I would have. What was that? I want to say it was like Saturday Night Live.
Well, I think Elton John, just came out and people were giving him shit for it. So Johnny was trying to have fun with it. So they switched wardrobe.
I think Johnny Cash is
and it was hilarious.
Yeah, Johnny Cash and Elton John
just
dressed up
didn't
as each
care.
other on SNL in 1982.
So I guess like the our Venn diagram guy is Johnny Cash. That's what you can take away from this podcast, is that Johnny Cash is the most successful person we can think of.
Plus having, like, being his age and still having the wherewithal and, like, recognition of wanting to cover a fucking Lynch song.
Yeah. And having the talent to not only do it well, but do it so well that Nine Inch Nails, like, handed it over.
Not only that, he just was going through June's death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was, I mean, they say that when she died, he died.
Yeah. And
he showed it in that song.
Okay, so any final words from our commander in pod for this episode?
That's me. I don't know. I think that a really important thing to take away from this is that obviously we're just three Hokies from Scioto County, or currently living in Scioto County at least. So obviously we are a little skewed, and luckily we are of a similar mindset to where we are open to a lot of things, and a lot of people would respond a lot differently. So don't take anything we say too hard. Right. We are right, though.
If there's anything... all of this is 100% the rule of law. But, I think if you do take anything from this, that's great. And maybe it's a new way of thinking about things. Maybe it's a new barometer to measure yourself against. Or maybe you just think everything we said was bullshit and wrong, and then, hey, that's your opinion. I hope you're a really successful fucking person.
Yeah.
And we would like to hear about it nonetheless, though.
If you're a millionaire, go fuck yourself, please. There's room on my dinner table for you.
Johnny Cash, please send me a message.
We'll be breaking out the Ouija board shortly after this.
No, I think
I'm going home then.
I think one of the biggest things that people should take from this episode is that success can be defined by a lot of different traits. And a lot of them might be different to different people. So no matter what, as long as you are trying and as long as your success is found inside yourself, you will be successful regardless. I think that that's one of the things that I've been saying a lot is it's weird because I haven't watched Doctor Who in a long ass time, but I've been saying things are bigger on the inside than they are on the outside. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's kind of beautiful because it's true. Like, whenever I came in, or whenever I walked in here and I sat down, I was like, oh, small room. Now I feel like I could fit an elephant in here. So, like, don't let anything kind of get in your way, and always try and, have that wherewithal in your brain to recognize when you're doing well. Yeah. Because I think that's one of the few things that people have left is that self-recognition and self-inspiration.
Yeah. And if you want to help Subject to Change become successful, you can do so by signing up on Patreon or visiting our website at subjecttochangeent.com. We are on all the socials. You can find everything through our website there, even the aforementioned Patreon. And of course, subscribe, share, comment. Like, every interaction is a way of supporting. So even if you don't have $1 or more a month to give on Patreon, just interacting with this episode or anything else we do is a way to help us gain more success. So, taking us out.
Huh?
Thank you very much.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you very much for listening to Subject to Pod. My name is Vincent Herman.
Thank you for asking. Wait, fuck.
What's your name?
Thank you for listening to the Subject to Pod. My name is Adam Lucas.
My name is Vincent Herman.
And my name is Dot Flanagan.
Give us your bones.
Give us your bones. Oh, we forgot to say that on the last one.
You bastards.